Jamal Thompson was 32 years old, and he believed, the way most good men believe, quietly and without making a show of it, that if you showed up every single day, your family would be okay. He wasn't flashy about it. He got up at 6 every morning, kissed his daughter's forehead while she was still sleeping, drove 40 minutes through Atlanta traffic to his desk at a tech firm off Peachtree Street, and he brought every dollar home. 6 years of marriage, a 4-year-old daughter named Amara, a house in Decatur with a backyard and a grill he was genuinely proud of. And then one Tuesday evening in October, while sitting in his car in the parking deck on Cortlandt Street, Jamal picked up his wife's old tablet, the one she'd asked him to charge, and the screen lit up with a message thread she had forgotten to close. He read the first line, then the second. Then he sat there for 45 minutes, unable to move. "You understand me way better than my husband does. Sometimes I wish Jamal were more like you." There was a red heart at the end of that sentence. 6 years of marriage, an anniversary dinner just 2 weeks prior, a daughter asleep at home waiting for her daddy to walk through the door, and a man named Darius Washington, who my wife had been casually calling her work husband for the past 4 months, was sitting on the other end of those messages like he belonged there. Psychologists have a name for what Jamal stumbled onto: emotional infidelity. Researchers who studied married couples found that emotional affairs caused the same level of psychological damage as physical ones, sometimes worse. Because the betrayed partner cannot point to a single clear line that was crossed. The damage just bleeds, slowly and quietly, until something gives. Emotional infidelity doesn't begin with a dramatic moment. It begins with a private conversation, the kind where one person starts telling another person things they stopped telling their spouse. From the inside, it never feels like betrayal. It feels like friendship. It feels like being understood. That is exactly what makes it so dangerous. Jamal did not explode that night. He did not confront Keisha the moment he walked through the door. He sat in that parking deck, stared at the concrete wall, and breathed. Slowly, carefully, the way a man breathes when he is deciding who he is going to be in the worst moment of his life. He drove home on Memorial Drive with the windows down. Amara's car seat was in the back. A half-eaten animal cracker sat in the cup holder. A crayon drawing on the floor mat, a purple dog, or possibly a horse, that she had made him promise to keep. He always kept everything she made him. The house on Glenwood Avenue was lit up warm when he pulled in. Keisha's yoga mat was rolled out on the front porch. She waved at him when he got out of the car. She smiled back, not quite looking up from her phone screen. Inside, Amara came running down the hallway in her socks, arms out, shrieking his name the way 4-year-olds shriek when they are fully, completely, unreservedly happy to see someone. Jamal caught her mid-air and pressed his face into her curls. "Daddy, we had spaghetti," she announced gravely. "I saved you some." "Did you save me the good noodles or the ones from the bottom of the pot?" She considered this with great seriousness. "The good ones." He carried her into the kitchen. Keisha came in a few minutes later, still glancing at her phone. "How was your day?" she asked. "Good," Jamal said. "Yours?" "Really good. Darius helped me re-edit the thumbnail for my Tuesday post. He has such a good eye for this stuff." She said his name the way you say the name of someone you think about often. Easy, familiar. Jamal nodded and picked up a fork. He didn't say anything, but something in his chest shifted very quietly out of place. What Jamal didn't know yet was that the message he had seen in the parking deck was not the beginning of the story. It was somewhere in the middle. And what came before it, and what was still coming, would change everything. Keisha Thompson had once been the kind of woman who made strangers feel instantly welcome. She and Jamal met at their community church over on Columbia Drive, a Sunday morning in late spring, 7 years ago, when she laughed at something the choir director said, and Jamal, standing 2 rows behind her, thought, "I want to be around that laugh for the rest of my life." They dated for a year, got married at Piedmont Park under the trees, with their families and about 40 friends. Mama Thompson cried through the whole thing. After Amara was born, Keisha started her Instagram page mostly out of boredom during maternity leave. Morning yoga flows, green smoothie recipes, baby stretch clips. It grew faster than she expected. Within 8 months, she had 40,000 followers, then 60, then a brand deal with an activewear company. But somewhere along the way, the numbers started to feel like oxygen. Becoming a mother can create an identity crisis nobody fully prepares you for. Psychologists call it matrescence, the profound transformation a woman goes through when she becomes a parent. Her sense of self shifts. The things that once defined her feel uncertain. Layer social media on top of that, and you get something combustible. Every post Keisha made was quietly asking, "Am I still someone worth seeing?" Every like was a temporary answer that had to be renewed constantly. Psychologists call this external validation dependency, not a character flaw, but a human response to feeling invisible. The problem is, it leaves a person with an open door, and the wrong kind of man will always know how to walk through it. Darius Washington walked through that door in January. He joined the wellness company's content team. He was 30 years old, sharp-dressed, and the kind of man who made every room feel like it had been waiting for him to arrive. He complimented Keisha's editing instincts in their first meeting. He noticed when she changed her hair. He remembered small details, the smoothie brand she mentioned once, her daughter's birthday, the yoga pose she'd been working on for 6 weeks. What Darius was doing has a name, mirroring combined with intermittent reinforcement. He reflected Keisha's best qualities back at her, making her feel genuinely seen, and he calibrated his attention carefully, warm some days, slightly cooler others, which created a low-grade anxiety that kept her returning to him. This is not romance. This is technique. Keisha brought Darius up at dinner one evening, about a month in. "He just gets the content," she said, spooning rice onto Amara's plate. "What I'm trying to say, you know?" "That's good," Jamal said. He meant it. Jamal even invited Darius to a cookout the following month, talked about basketball and the Braves season, shook his hand warmly when he left. He had no reason not to trust him. And here is what neither of them could see. Jamal's openness actually created space for Darius to move in closer. A man with good intentions keeps a respectful distance. A man with an agenda gets comfortable. Darius got very comfortable. The mug arrived on their 6th anniversary. Jamal had ordered it custom, a ceramic mug with a photo of him, Keisha, and Amara from a family trip to Cumberland Island on one side, and the words, "Thompson family, built to last," on the other. Keisha loved it. She brought it to work. 3 weeks later, Jamal noticed it was gone from her desk during a video call. "What happened to the mug?" he asked. Darius kind of joked that it didn't match the workspace aesthetic. "We were setting up for a content shoot and it was just sitting there." "He threw it away?" "He didn't throw it away. He just moved it. Jamal, don't make this into something." Jamal did not push further. But something cracked, not loudly, not dramatically, the way old wood cracks beneath a floor. What Darius did with that mug was not a small thing. By removing a family photograph from her workspace, he was performing what therapists call symbolic boundary erosion, quietly eliminating reminders of a partner's commitment to create psychological room for himself. And when Keisha called Jamal too sensitive, she was deflecting a legitimate concern by reframing the person raising it as the problem. It was Tasha who finally said something. Tasha, 29, Keisha's co-worker, texted Jamal on a Thursday morning in September. "Hey, I'm sorry to message you like this, but you need to pay closer attention to Darius, please. Jamal started paying attention the way a quiet man pays attention, without announcing it. He noticed Keisha had stopped sharing her location. She now charged her phone in the kitchen instead of on the nightstand. She laughed differently when texting. Small, private, quick. Then one Thursday evening, Keisha said she was filming at the studio late. Jamal called Tasha at 7:30. "She's not at the studio," Tasha said, her voice low and pained. "She's at a bar in Buckhead with Darius. I saw her Instagram story before she deleted it." 2 wine glasses on a candlelit table. Caption: "Grateful for someone who truly understands me." She deleted it within 40 minutes. Jamal drove home slowly that night. He heated up leftovers, helped Amara brush her teeth, read her a story. After she fell asleep, he sat in the rocking chair beside her bed for a long while. The next morning, over scrambled eggs, Amara looked up with the bright, uncomplicated honesty of a 4-year-old. "Mommy, how come you laugh more when Uncle Darius calls than when Daddy comes home?" The kitchen went completely still. Keisha's fork hovered over her plate. Jamal looked at his daughter, then at his wife. He didn't say a word. Children are extraordinary observers of emotional reality. Amara wasn't reporting something she understood. She was simply reporting what she saw. And sometimes, the most devastating truth in a room is spoken by the person who has no idea it's devastating at all. If you found out your spouse had been sending messages like these, would you stay and fight for the marriage or walk away? Drop "stay" or "leave" in the comments right now. Tasha had been sitting on that folder for 3 weeks. She had opened it and closed it more times than she could count, staring at it on her phone while she ate lunch alone in her car, willing herself to either delete the whole thing or do something with it. She was not a dramatic person by nature. She kept her head down, her opinions to herself, and believed, up until a point, that what happened between a husband and wife was their own business. But there are limits to that belief, and Tasha had reached hers. The evening after Amara's breakfast question, she sent Jamal the folder. It was a collection of screenshots spanning roughly 4 months, pulled from a shared work channel, an Instagram DM thread, and a group messaging app the content team used for project communication. Tasha had not gone looking for these. They had simply existed in spaces she had access to, and over time, they had become impossible to ignore. Jamal sat in his home office and read through every single one. It took him almost an hour. The early messages were easy enough to explain away. Work talk, content feedback, a few compliments. But somewhere around midsummer, the tone had shifted. Gradually, subtly. The way water temperature changes before you realize you've been sitting in it too long. "I feel like I can be honest with you in a way I can't with most people. You always know exactly what to say. Jamal tries, but he doesn't really understand the creative side of my life. He's more practical. Sometimes I wish Jamal were more like you, more emotionally available, more present." That last message was timestamped on a Sunday afternoon in September. The same Sunday, Jamal had taken Amara to Fernbank Science Center so my wife could have a quiet afternoon to create content. He had texted Keisha a photo of Amara pressed up against the planetarium glass, eyes wide, pointing at the stars. She had replied with 3 heart emojis and gone back to texting Darius. What those messages reveal is not simply a woman saying kind things to a coworker. What they reveal is a textbook progression that psychologists call the emotional affair escalation ladder. It begins with safe venting, small complaints about a partner shared with someone sympathetic. This feels harmless because in isolation it is. It moves into preferential disclosure. One person begins sharing with the outside person the things they no longer share with their spouse. The honest interior life, the fears, the frustrations, the quiet longings. Then comes comparative idealization. The outside person begins to seem emotionally superior to the spouse, not because they are, but because they only ever appear in the good moments. They never have to pay a bill, come home exhausted, or disappoint anyone. And finally, emotional exclusivity, where the outside relationship feels more real and more nourishing than the marriage itself. By the time Keisha wrote that she wished Jamal were more like Darius, she had climbed most of that ladder without ever realizing she had started. Jamal closed the folder, sat in the dark of his office. Then he walked to the kitchen, poured himself a glass of water, and drank the whole thing slowly. Then he went to find his wife. Keisha was folding laundry on the bedroom floor when he appeared in the doorway. She looked up. Something in his face made her hands stop. "What's wrong?" she said. Jamal leaned against the doorframe. His voice was quiet, flat, and deliberate. "I need you to tell me the truth about Darius." Keisha set down the shirt she was holding. "We've talked about..." "I'm not asking what we've talked about. I'm asking what is actually true." A long silence. "There's nothing physical happening," she said. "There never has been." "That's not what I asked." She looked at the floor. "Keisha, I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to tell me if you are emotionally involved with this man, in a way that you are not emotionally involved with your husband." The silence that followed was the longest of their marriage. Then Keisha's face crumpled completely. She pressed her hands over her mouth. Her shoulders dropped, and she began to cry in the way people cry when they have been holding something so long that the container finally gives way. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I know it got out of hand. I know it did." Through broken breaths, Keisha told him what she had been burying under captions and excuses and the smile she put on for the camera every morning. She described how lost she had felt after Amara was born. The pressure to document her own recovery and transformation in real time for 40,000 strangers had quietly hollowed her out. Her sense of self had cracked open, and she hadn't known how to ask for help. Darius had walked into that hollowed-out place and filled it with attention. "He made me feel seen again," she said. She couldn't look at Jamal when she said it. "You have always been seen," Jamal said quietly. "By me. Every day." That made her cry harder. "I know," she said. "I don't know why that stopped feeling like enough." Jamal was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "It wasn't about me or what I gave you. It was about something you stopped believing about yourself. And he was there to fill that gap. I understand that," he paused. "But it still hurt our marriage. And I need you to end it." Here is what that exchange reveals about something deeper. Research in attachment theory consistently shows that emotional affairs most often occur not in loveless marriages, but in marriages where one partner's internal sense of self has become fragile. Keisha's problem was never that Jamal wasn't enough. Her problem was that she had stopped believing she deserved what he was already giving her. Darius didn't heal that. He rented the space where healing needed to happen. That space belongs to Keisha. It always did. She called Darius that evening from the living room with Jamal seated across from her. She told him it was over, that she needed distance for the sake of her marriage, that what had developed between them needed to end. She was calm when she dialed. She was shaking by the time she hung up. Darius did not accept it gracefully. The charm, that easy, warm, effortless charm, was gone inside of 30 seconds. What replaced it came through the phone like cold water. He left a voice message. His tone was flat, controlled, almost emotionless. More threatening for being so calm. "You're weaker than I thought. After everything I gave you, you're running back to the man you said didn't understand you?" A pause. "I thought you were different." Keisha sat very still after the message ended. She set the phone on the cushion beside her and looked at Jamal with something raw in her face. Something she hadn't shown him in months. Not defensiveness, not performance. Fear. "He was never actually my friend, was he?" she said. "No," Jamal said. "He wasn't." And that realization, arriving cold and late and undeniable, is one of the most painful moments in any story like this. The person who made her feel so understood turns out to have been watching her the way a fisherman watches water, patiently, with a purpose she couldn't see from where she was standing. The warmth was real. The manipulation was also real. Both things were true at the same time. That is exactly what makes it so hard to process, and so hard to grieve. Neither of them knew that Darius Washington was not the kind of man who accepted rejection and simply moved on. What he did next would drag their marriage and their entire lives into public view in ways that would terrify them both. Keep watching, because what Darius does next will shock you. Darius Washington did not make scenes. That had always been part of his appeal, the way he moved through difficulty without ever appearing rattled. He never raised his voice, never showed his hand. To everyone around him at the office, he was the most composed man in any room. What Keisha hadn't understood until now was that the composure wasn't character. It was strategy. Darius displays nearly every behavioral marker of what psychologists call a covert narcissist. Unlike the loud, self-important variety most people picture, the covert type presents as empathetic, attentive, and emotionally generous. They are extraordinary listeners because they are gathering information, not offering connection. They pursue emotionally vulnerable people because vulnerability is easier to manage than strength. They give generously while it serves them. The moment it stops serving them, they become something else entirely. What Keisha experienced as warmth had been, from Darius's perspective, an investment. Covert narcissists do not accept losses quietly. When rejected, they don't grieve, they retaliate, methodically. He started with rumors, careful ones, the kind that sound like concern when first heard. He dropped quiet observations to colleagues at the coffee station, in hallways, in brief messages that could always be read as innocent. He described Keisha as someone who had been struggling. He implied Jamal was controlling, planting the same seed in different soil, twice in 1 week. Within 4 days, the narrative had taken root. Keisha walked into the office on a Wednesday morning and felt it immediately. The micro-pauses when she walked past. The smiles that didn't reach eyes. A coworker named Brenda, who had always stopped by to chat, offered only a small, polite nod from across the room. Keisha told herself she was imagining it. She was not. Then someone posted into the internal company group chat, anonymously, through a third-party app, and the post contained screenshots of private messages between Keisha and Darius. Nothing explicit, but emotional enough to cause immediate damage. Inside jokes, flirty exchanges. The message where Keisha had written that she wished her husband were more like him, highlighted for everyone to see. By noon, Keisha had received 3 texts from coworkers. By 2 in the afternoon, her supervisor had quietly suggested she keep a low profile. By 4 o'clock, a message from Darius arrived on her phone. "If you think blocking me ends this, you're making a very serious mistake." Then a second message. "I have every voice note, every chat history, every picture. I will send all of it to your husband's family and yours if you don't start cooperating again." What Darius had just done has a clinical name: coercive control through information leverage. A recognized form of psychological abuse that weaponizes a person's own vulnerability against them. The target is placed in an impossible position: comply with the abuser's demands or face the public destruction of everything they've built. It is worth stating plainly, Keisha's choices do not make her deserving of what Darius is doing. Her mistakes and his abuse are two entirely separate things. Collapsing them together is exactly the thinking that keeps victims silent. And it is wrong. She called Jamal from her car, voice barely holding together.
He's threatening me. He said he'll send things to your mother, to both our families.
Forward me everything, Jamal said, his voice steady. All of it. Don't respond to him. Come home. The official email from Human Resources arrived the following morning at 9:47. Notice of temporary administrative leave, pending workplace investigation. Keisha read it standing in the kitchen in her robe, Amara eating cereal at the table behind her. She set the phone face down on the counter and stood very still.
Mommy, can I have more orange juice?
Amara asked. Keisha turned around, smiled at her daughter, and poured the juice with steady hands. Then she went to the bathroom, turned on the shower so the sound would cover her, sat down on the edge of the tub, and fell completely apart. Her career, her professional reputation, her marriage, her family's stability, everything was coming apart in real time. The little girl eating cereal in the kitchen had done nothing wrong. She had simply been born into a family that was now fracturing around her. At 2:17 in the morning, Jamal's phone rang. He was already awake at the kitchen table with a cup of tea gone cold. He answered on the first ring. Keisha was crying so hard, the words barely came through. Jamal, I'm losing everything. My job, my reputation. I don't know what to do. I was so wrong. I know that now. I'm so sorry. Where are you? He asked. In the backyard. I didn't want to wake Amara. Are you safe? Yes. He exhaled slowly. Come inside, Keisha. This 2 a.m. phone call represents what psychologists call the consequence breakthrough. The moment when real-world consequences finally cut through the layer of rationalization, insulating someone from the full reality of their choices. An HR investigation is not ambiguous. A blackmail threat cannot be reframed. The sound of your daughter asking for orange juice while your career collapses cannot be softened. Keisha wasn't crying because she felt bad. She was crying because the fog had finally lifted. And what she could see clearly, perhaps for the first time in months, was exactly what she had almost thrown away. She came in through the back door. She stood in the kitchen doorway wrapped in a blanket, her face a mess, the performance of everything being fine completely gone. Jamal looked at her for a long moment. We have a lot of work to do, he said. I know. This doesn't just get better on its own. I know. But I am not ready to let go of our family. He paused. Are you? No, I never wanted that. I got lost. I know that. But I never wanted to lose this. He nodded slowly. Okay, he said. Then we start there. Mama Thompson was not a woman who waited for the right moment. She was the kind of woman who created the moment herself, set the table for it, made sure there was good food on that table, and then sat down and said exactly what needed to be said without raising her voice once. She had raised Jamal alone after his father left when the boy was 9 years old. She had worked double shifts at Grady Memorial Hospital as a nursing aide for 11 years to keep their apartment on Moreland Avenue. She had watched her son get bullied through middle school for being quiet and careful in a world that rewarded loud. She had watched him carry those wounds into adulthood with a dignity that broke her heart a little every time she thought about it. She was not about to watch anyone do to her son what the world had already tried to do. But Mama Thompson was also wise enough to know that righteous anger makes noise, and noise pushes people away. If she wanted Keisha to truly hear her, she needed to do something harder than being angry. She needed to be kind. She called them both on Friday and invited them to Sunday dinner, the kind of invitation that isn't really optional. They came, Jamal quiet in the passenger seat, Amara chattering in the back about a butterfly she had seen at school, Keisha driving with both hands on the wheel and the careful composure of someone who had spent 3 days bracing for whatever was coming. Mama Thompson's house off Glenwood Road in East Point smelled exactly like it always smelled. Cornbread, collard greens, something sweet baking in the oven. A Hallmark movie was playing on the television, the sound turned low. The old armchair by the window still had the same crocheted throw across the back that had been there since Jamal was in high school. Some things don't change. Dinner was warm and easy, the way Mama Thompson engineered warmth, asking Amara about school, serving generous portions, filling every awkward silence with something practical before it had time to grow. Keisha helped clear the dishes. Amara fell asleep on the couch with the crocheted throw pulled up to her chin. And then the table was clear, the kitchen was quiet, and Mama Thompson refilled everyone's sweet tea and sat back down and looked at Keisha with eyes that were completely steady. "Baby," she said, "I need to talk to you." Keisha nodded. "I'm not here to shame you. I want you to understand that first. I have made mistakes in my own life that I am still dealing with, and I am not going to pretend otherwise." She folded her hands on the table. "But I am going to tell you what I see, and I need you to actually hear it." "Okay," Keisha said. "You have been throwing away a good man and a beautiful family for the attention of someone who is never on your side." The plainness of it landed in the room like something heavy. Keisha's breath caught. "I'm not saying Jamal is perfect," Mama Thompson continued, her voice still even. "Lord knows that man is stubborn and about as expressive as a fence post most of the time. But he has shown up for you and that little girl every single day, in every way that actually matters. And you were out there feeding your heart to a man who was keeping score." Keisha pressed her lips together. Tears were building. "The man who spread those rumors, who made those threats, he was never your friend. Anyone who uses your vulnerability as a weapon the moment you stop giving him what he wants is not someone who ever truly cared about you. That is someone who wanted to own something." She paused. "And you almost let him." What Mama Thompson was doing in that kitchen has a name in family therapy: restorative confrontation. A form of accountability that holds a person responsible for their choices without humiliating them, that sees the full picture of who they are without reducing them to their worst moment. It is genuinely rare. It requires a depth of character that most people spend a lifetime trying to develop. Righteous anger is easy. It costs nothing. Compassionate accountability, the kind that says, "I see what you did, I see why you did it, and I love you enough to tell you the truth anyway," that requires something different. Mama Thompson had earned that over 58 years of a complicated, hard-won life. "And your daughter," Mama Thompson said, her voice finally softening. "That child in there is watching all of this." She leaned slightly forward. "You know what little girls learn from their mothers about marriage? Everything. They learn everything. So I need you to ask yourself right now, what is Amara learning? And what do you want her to carry with her for the rest of her life?" Keisha covered her face with both hands. When she looked up, the controlled surface was gone. What remained was softer, raw, and entirely true. "I don't want her growing up thinking this is what love looks like," she said. "I don't want her to one day treat her own husband the way I've treated Jamal." "Then don't let that be the lesson," Mama Thompson said simply. That question, "What do you want your child to learn?" is one of the most powerful reframes in all of therapeutic practice. Psychologists call it legacy-based motivation, And it works because it shifts a person's focus from their own immediate feelings to something far larger and more permanent. When we ask ourselves what we want for our own lives, we are often capable of great self-deception. We rationalize, we minimize, we tell ourselves convenient versions of the truth. But when we ask ourselves what we want our children to carry out of our homes and into their futures, most people cannot lie. Keisha had been lying to herself in various ways for months, but she could not lie about Amara. 3 days after that dinner, Keisha went live on Instagram. No filter, no ring light, no carefully arranged background. She sat at the kitchen table in a plain gray shirt, her natural curls loose, her face showing every one of the past 2 weeks. 40,000 people watched in real time. She didn't script it, she just talked. She said she had let another person come between herself and her husband, that she had confused attention for real connection, that she had hurt the man who had been present every day, and that she was ashamed of it. Then she pulled up Darius's profile on her phone, held it toward the camera, and blocked him, publicly, in front of everyone watching. "Jamal is my husband," she said, her voice cracking on the last word. "He is the foundation of this family. I was wrong, and I am sorry. To him and to our daughter." She ended the stream. Comments came flooding in, some critical, some forgiving, some from complete strangers who said they needed to hear exactly what she had said. But Keisha wasn't reading the comments. She was looking at Jamal, who was standing in the doorway with tears running silently down his face. "Was that enough?" she asked. "It's a start," he said, and he held out his hand. From a psychological standpoint, what Keisha did on that live stream was more significant than it might appear on the surface. When we confess something privately, we retain the ability to quietly revise the story over time, to soften it, to present a gentler version to ourselves as the years pass. When we say the hard thing publicly and irreversibly, we close that door for good. Keisha didn't just apologize to Jamal. She made it impossible for herself to ever pretend it hadn't happened. That is not a performance. That is an act of genuine courage. Both of them had a long road ahead, but for the first time since all of this began, they were finally walking in the same direction. And what grew between them in the months that followed, slow, honest, and sometimes difficult, was something neither of them had been expecting. The best part of this story is still coming. Stay with us. Healing is not a moment. People want it to be a moment, a tearful apology accepted, a hug in a doorway that dissolves all the damage and resets the clock. But real healing is slow and stubborn. It looks like two people sitting across from a marriage counselor on a Tuesday evening, struggling to say what they actually mean. It looks like choosing every single morning to stay at the table instead of walking out the door. Jamal and Keisha started counseling the week after the live stream. Their therapist, Dr. Renee Okafor, who ran a private practice on Cascade Road in Atlanta, did not let either of them take the easy road. She pushed Keisha to examine the identity fracture that had left her vulnerable in the first place. She pushed Jamal towards something different. "Your wife knew you were there every day," Dr. Okafor told him one evening. "But she needed you to tell her why you stayed." There are two kinds of love language failure in marriage. The first is obvious, a partner who stops showing up. The second is quieter, the partner who loves deeply, who is fully present, but who learned somewhere along the way to express that love only through action, never through words. Psychologists call this the secure but unexpressive pattern. The love is real, the marriage is structurally sound, but the emotional nourishment, the daily reassurance that you are not just valued but wanted, not just needed but chosen, gets delivered in silence. Jamal had never stopped loving Keisha. He had simply stopped narrating it. Darius, whatever else he was, had been an extraordinarily fluent narrator. He said out loud every day what Jamal felt but rarely spoke. That does not excuse what Keisha did. It explains something. And understanding something is not the same as forgiving it, but it is the necessary first step toward healing. Jamal started speaking. He told Keisha she was beautiful, but he began saying why, the specific details, the small things he had noticed every single day and kept to himself like a private collection he'd never thought to share. She cried the first time he did it, said she hadn't realized how long she had been waiting to hear those things out loud. Then we've both been holding back, he said. 2 weeks into counseling, Keisha resigned from the company. She accepted a content strategy position at a smaller wellness firm, and on her last day, walked out the front door on Peachtree Street with a single box and did not look back. Darius, for his part, received a formal written notice from the company's legal department shortly after. The documented blackmail messages, which Jamal had quietly forwarded through an attorney, constituted workplace harassment and attempted coercion. He was transferred to a satellite office in Charlotte, North Carolina, where the effortless charm that had served him so well in Atlanta didn't translate as cleanly into a room full of people he hadn't yet had the chance to work on. Tasha received a handwritten thank you card and a restaurant gift card that Jamal left on her desk one afternoon when she wasn't there. She kept the card for years. 3 months after Mama Thompson's Sunday dinner, Jamal and Keisha were dating each other again. They went to dinner at a restaurant in Little Five Points on a Friday night, just the two of them, while Mama Thompson took Amara for the evening and proceeded to let her watch too much television and eat 3 cookies before bed, because that is what grandmothers do. At that dinner table, they talked about things they hadn't discussed in years, not logistics or school pickups, the other things, the dreams they'd had when they got married, the people they were still trying to become. Jamal told her about the parking deck on Cortlandt Street, the 45 minutes he had spent sitting in his car, deciding who he was going to be. "Why didn't you leave?" Keisha asked. He thought about it for a moment. "Because I didn't want to." And because walking away looked easier than it actually was when there was a little girl at home asking for the good noodles and leaving crayon drawings on my floor mat. Keisha laughed at that. A real laugh, unguarded, full. The one he had fallen in love with at church on Columbia Drive 7 years ago. He reached across the table and held her hand. What Jamal and Keisha had found their way to is what researchers call earned security, emotional intimacy that only exists on the other side of real rupture and real repair. It is different from the natural ease of new love and different from the comfortable routine of a long marriage. Earned security requires 2 people to have seen each other at their worst, to have chosen honesty over comfort, and to have stayed anyway. It is quieter than the beginning. It is sturdier than everything else. The news came in January, on a cold Thursday morning. Keisha sat on the edge of the bed, holding a pregnancy test. She called Jamal in from the hallway. He looked at the test, then at her face. Then he sat down beside her, and they stayed there, together. With the gray Atlanta light coming through the curtains, the neighborhood sounds outside, ordinary and unhurried. "Another one," Keisha said softly. "Another one," Jamal said. She squeezed his hand. "This time I will protect what we have. I mean that." He looked at her. "I know you do," he said. A few weeks later, they sat together in a dim ultrasound room at DeKalb Medical. Amara sat beside them, working through a coloring book, entirely uninterested in the screen, but deeply invested in the animal crackers in her mother's bag. The sonographer moved the wand. The room filled with the sound, rapid, small, impossibly steady, of a heartbeat. Amara looked up from her coloring. "What's that sound?" "That's your little brother or sister," Jamal told her. She considered this seriously. "Okay," she said, and went back to coloring. My wife laughed through tears. Jamal pressed his lips to her temple. And somewhere outside the hospital, Atlanta went on being Atlanta, noisy and warm and full of people trying to find their way back to each other. Jamal told his story once, at a men's group meeting at the church on Columbia Drive, standing at the front of a room full of men all trying to hold their families together. He said it plainly. Work husbands and work wives are not harmless jokes. If people don't establish honest boundaries early, those relationships can quietly destroy families. Not all at once, but one small moment at a time. Talk to your spouse. Tell them why you chose them. Appreciate the person beside you out loud, not just in your head. The validation that actually lasts comes from your family, not from strangers on a screen. Because attention fades, but the damage caused by letting the wrong person get too close can follow a family for a very long time. So protect your marriage every day, like it's the most important thing you have. He paused one last time, because it is. This story teaches us that no matter how bright the attention from outside your marriage may feel, it will never make up for what it quietly dismantles along the way. That the steadiest love is not always the most talkative, but it is real, and it is rare, and it deserves to be protected. That social media has given us 1,000 ways to feel seen by strangers, and almost none of them are a substitute for being truly known by the person who chose you. That emotional affairs rarely begin with bad people. They begin with unmet needs that no one named out loud. And the most powerful thing a marriage can do is learn to speak those needs before someone else offers to fill them. That children are always watching, learning what love looks like, what loyalty means, what a family is worth fighting for. What we show them in the hard seasons will stay with them far longer than we imagine. For those of us who have spent decades in a marriage and know what it means to weather something hard together. For those of us who hope our sons and grandsons are never taken for granted by someone who couldn't see what they had until it was almost gone. This story is for you. Hold your people close tonight. Tell them why. This story was written by a human, supported by AI. It's not grand, it only hopes to gently touch your heart. That even when looked down upon or pushed aside, justice may arrive late, but never absent. And kindness will ultimately be rewarded in the most beautiful way. Production team, story and screenplay by Quinn Fung. Character development and visual conceptualization by Chris Nguyen. Video scripting and scene adaptation by David Nguyen. A passionate team dedicated to bringing this story to life.